Let's start with a reality check about the startup world. You see headlines every day about massive funding rounds, $7 million here, $9 million there. And it's easy to start believing that without venture capital, you simply cannot build a meaningful company. But the data, based on my research, tells completely a different story. In 2025 alone, over 11,200 startups shut down, a 30% jump from the year before. In fact, for every 2 new ventures born, 1 dies. And roughly 45% of all startup failures happen between months 18 and 24, a period so brutal that veterans call it the valley of death. Most founders think they need VC money to survive this valley. But today I want to share the story of founders who went a different way. A group of founders who took a mission-first approach, went from zero external funding to real impact, and proved that purpose and profit are not mutually exclusive. Let's set the stage with 3 numbers you won't hear at any pitch competition. Number 1, 92% of SaaS startups fail within 3 years. Number 2, only 0.05% of startups ever get VC funding. 99.95% build it in some other way. And number 3, bootstrapped companies are 3 times more likely to become profitable within 3 years than their VC-backed counterparts. The valley of death is real. But money alone is not what pulls you through. What pulls you through is mission. Now let me tell you about the founders who figured that out. Meet Daniel Santos. Daniel Santos, a co-founder of a startup. Daniel Santos grew up in South Florida, predominantly low-income Latino communities, recognizing that students from underprivileged backgrounds rarely had access to elite admission resources available to wealthier peers. Santos set out to build a platform that could bridge this gap. In college, surrounded by engineers and future founders, Daniel assumed he needed funding to be taken seriously. So he entered a pitch competition, came in second, no check. He reached out to investors, no bites. He had a choice, give up or keep building. He kept building. He started Prepory, a college admissions coaching company. The company began its journey as a grassroots minority-led venture in 2012. Instead of relying on massive venture capital injections, the founders chose to bootstrap the venture, Prepory, by focusing heavily on building a validated student-centric curriculum and a network of top-tier mentors from universities like Harvard and Columbia. Prepory grew organically. Prepory was born out of a desire to democratize high-end college admission and career counseling from a one-person operation helping students in his local community. Today, Prepory has grown into a 7-figure global company with nearly 100 team members. The company scaled from a local South Florida initiative to a global operations network serving over 14,000 students across partnering school districts in more than 60 countries. Their rapid organic revenue growth earned them a prestigious spot in an Inc. 5000 honoree. Today, the company is actively expanding its traditional counseling model by integrating proprietary AI tools like their AI resume maker to, scale its career service globally. It has been built as one of the most trusted brands in college admissions, all without a single outside investor. Why? Why? Because he obsessed over customers and outcomes, not scale. He and his team learned that one school contract could bring the same revenue as 10 individual clients, an insight born not from a boardroom, but from necessity. And because they built slowly, there was no pressure. No pressure to scale it overnight. That gave them room to build a team that shows up with purpose, not just paychecks. But here is what I love most about his story. When people ask if he would raise money now, you know what he said? Not unless we have a strategic reason to. Not because I am anti-VC, but because we no longer need it. We no longer need it. Bootstrapping gave us something far more valuable, he said, than capital. It taught us, he said, now to build a resilient, value-driven, adaptable business. This is, according to me, not an isolated story. Across the globe, mission-first startups are quietly outlasting their better-funded rivals. And there is a reason for that. Purpose gives you a decision-making framework when everything feels uncertain. Should we cut this program? Does this pivot serve our customers? When you know why you started, the answers become clearer. Purpose attracts talent that cares about impact, not just salary, and purpose that resonates with modern consumers in a way discounts never will. A 2025 survey across 5,000 people in India found that 58% prefer local brands, and nearly half say a strong founder story makes a brand memorable. Another global study found that 63% of customers are willing to pay more for a sustainable product. People, don't just buy what you sell. They buy why you sell it. Yes, why you sell it. And when you start from mission instead of money, you build a brand that people actually want to root for. Now I want to address the elephant in the room. What about the valley of death? Can a mission-first startup survive it? The research says yes, if you play the long game. The typical valley of death begins when initial seed capital, typically, enough for 12 to 18 months, starts to run dry. At that moment, desperation kicks in. Teams cut corners, founders burn out, and investors start asking for their money back. But mission-first founders navigate this differently because they never relied on outside funding. Outside funding in the first place, they never relied on it. Their burn rates are lower. Their product decisions are driven by customer validation, not investor milestones. And when cash gets tight, they don't panic, they pivot. A 2025 survey of over 80 impact startups found that mission-driven entrepreneurs consistently prioritize long-term progress over short-term hype, building companies with genuine sustainability baked into their DNA. In other words, they treat the valley not as a death sentence, but as a rite of passage. That's the difference. So what can you take away from this, what I just shared with you? Let's boil it down to 4 lessons. 1. Validation comes from paying customers, not pitch deck applause. Santos learned this when he chose to serve students rather than chase investors. 2. Small intentional growth builds stronger muscles than rapid funded scaling. It forces you to listen, iterate, and earn every inch of progress. 3. Purpose is not a branding gimmick, it's your North Star through every storm. And 4, you don't need 9-figure check to change the world. You just need a compelling mission, a deep understanding of your customer, and the patience, to build something that lasts. The statistics are clear. The startup graveyard is full of well-funded corpses. But the businesses that survive, the ones that grow into trusted brands, that support thousands of customers, that attract teams of nearly 100 people, those businesses started with a mission, not a minimum viable pitch deck. So, if you are sitting on an idea today and you think you cannot move forward without outside funding, I hope this story, which I shared with you, changes your mind. Start with why. Build for someone who needs you and let the impact speak for itself. Yes. Well, that's all for today. Thanks for watching. I will catch up with you again, probably on the weekend, with another topic of great interest to most of the audience. Thank you. Good luck, good wishes, and God bless.